Yilamusai. Give thanks for life. All right, so in this series, we're going to be going over 9 principles of unification. All right, unification by languages, unification by currency, unification by spirituality, unification by one military force throughout the entire continent, unification of an economical bloc, free trading between all nations on the continent, unification by an international body representing the diaspora. You're actually in charge of a global empire, but you're not yet aware how to tap into it. All right? Before we go into any more, today, the first one, we're probably just going to cover language and currency and the role that it actually is played in unifying other places. As a matter of fact, the first 3, language, currency, equal measurements of weight, still currency, religion and spirituality, these 3 alone within history has been known to unify any lands. This is what I'm going to bring you some examples of. Right off the bat, though, we have a lot of current event things. Have a lot of current event that need to be addressed. First, it seems that the ancestral spirits is rising back on the continent. You have Guinea, Burkina Faso, Mali. All of these people has risen up. And now Niger. It's interesting that particular area where they're at. Who lives there? The Dogons, the defunct ancient Egyptians. Okay, that's funny. That's to be connected later. Now, there are a couple of things that you're going to need to do. There are a couple of things that we need to do as a group. Now, it's reached a point to where they're telling friends, okay, you've been here, you've been looting, you're polluting, you've been stealing, you've been robbing. Now we want you the F out. And friends don't want to get out because this particular domino, when it falls, it's going to fall hard for them. All right? So now it's at the point to where the people are telling friends, get out of here. We don't need you. We don't like you. We don't want to be ruled by you anymore. Thank you very much for abusing us the last 400 years, but we're done with it. And you still won't go. Part of this is our fault as the international community. Okay? Because when I'm living in America here, living within a certain realm of comfort, and my brothers and sisters going through some trauma, some hardship on the continent, if I'm just able to divorce myself from the situation and say, well, this is these problems that these people are having. I tell you what, when we go through our stuff, that's the same thing that's going to happen. They're going to sit back and say, well, that's just some stuff that those people are going through. I've been on the continent before. Let me tell you something. They feel our pain when we're going through it in the Americas. They're not divorced. They may be powerless to where they don't feel like they have the ability to do anything, but they feel our pain. Why do I say a lot of this is our fault? It is. When we start to feel the pain of our brothers and our sisters, unification will be an automatic function. It won't be something that you have to try to do. Feel your brother's pain and suffering. Understand what they're going through. Claim it as your own. Especially us in the Western Hemisphere, let me tell you, we're going to need to solidify this relationship with our brothers on the continent even more. Because they may be in a position in 6 months, a year down the line, when these beasts turn it up on us here and decide to start killing our children again without any remorse. We're going to need them to stand up with us. So where am I going with all this? A lot of this is our fault. Now, there are a few things that need to happen. Right off the bat, you need to militarize your entire society. This is not something I'm going to do to make my enemy scared, to bluff him. No. You need to militarize every facet of your society. Second thing you need to do is you need to form local and continental confederates. Your local confederates right off the bat, Burkina Faso, Mali, Guinea, 90% of these francophone countries are your actual allies if you're able to tap into that. Okay? Not only from your surrounding neighbors, but you will receive a lot of assistance for those who A, have a sincere love for you and share your struggle, or B, have a bitter hatred for your common enemy and would love to jump in to quell them. You're going to receive help from all aspects. So yes, you need to militarize your entire society. You need to form confederates, not picky or puny confederates. You have a dispute with your neighbor and all of a sudden you think the other African countries need to jump in and help you fight. A confederation means if I am under existential threat from our common enemies, which need no distinction for the last 400 years, all the confederations need to fall in on me and defend this cause. Because today, they got their foot up my ass. Tomorrow, it'll be yours. So yes, you need to form local confederates. And listen, forgive my voice. I went to the hospital the other day and I have no idea what these people done to me, but I'm recovering. You need to form local and continental confederation. The Psalm says, you will be accompanied by righteous warriors like copious showers that wet the earth. Check Psalms 149. So once you put out that clarion call and it's time to get down, if they won't leave, you will have enough ammunition. You will have enough soldiers. You're also going to have enough external help from probably Russia and China. Next thing you need to do is now this may not seem as something that's an armor, but one of the things I know. All right. right? So one of the things I'm noticed as a clarion call and all the revolutionists in Africa standing up now, they're saying, may our ancestors be with us. Good. That's a sign that we're heading in the right direction. We're starting to wake up to our internal divinity. Now, while you're doing that, militarizing your entire society, tapping into local and continental federation to come to your aid, as you will go to their aid in their time of needs. The other thing is, us over in the diaspora, we need to be stopped rubbing shoulders, enjoying French fries too much, and we need to have a presence in front of these people's embassies who will not leave in protest, showing them our contempt. We will never look at you. We will never look at you as anything else than what you are, Africa, until you leave and get the F out their lands like they're telling you. So when they're facing the pressure from inside, pushing out, and also from the international diaspora from the outside, pushing in, oh, I guarantee you, they're going to leave. They're going to leave. All right? One of the most important part of it now is, yes, you collect yourself together in confederation to defend your land. Yes, you operate with a unified military force. Yes, us in the international diaspora protest and show our contempt to these people who will not do right by you. Because you know what? We're going to be counting on you tomorrow to do the same thing for us. Now, the final part of it is, those of you who've walked in the ancestral road, your job is a little bit more. Now, being a priest, what does that really mean? Is this about just trying to fix my personal life, trying to fix certain things that I could fix on an individual level? Or does this have anything to do with the service unto my nation? That's not what your nation could do for you, bro. But what you could do for your nation. All right? So those of you who have been chosen to walk this priestical road, you have a little bit more to do than to go march off your heel in front of the embassy, which we're going to need that energy. But your job now is to bring back the ancestors into their fight. This is their fight. We need to bring them back into it. If you've reached that far on your spiritual journey, you will know exactly how to communicate with your ancestors around the altar. You need to bring back the ancestors in this fight. This is more their fight than our fight. You have access to working with the divinities. May it be just the warriors. That may be all you need. Bring them back into this fight. This is their fight. This is. All the divinities are in charge of keeping an order. So when things is out of whack, it's their job to bring things back in order. Okay? You've received your parent divinity. Bring that person, bring that head divinity back into the struggle. What is it? Fire, water, lightning. Bring it back into the struggle. This is their job to keep the order. You've received Babaluaye, Obaluaye, the healer. Yeah, he's the healer too. He's also the guy that spread the Black Plague. Bring back the divinities, the ancestors, back in the struggle, back on battlefield Earth. This is what we're going to need to do. Anyhow, that's pretty much my current event before we jump into this. As you notice, I'm not going to really do a whole bunch of video work right now. Maybe when the series is done, I could put it all together and put some time. Right now, I got a couple of flags that I think would be the perfect for the United Afurakan. Of course, it's the red, black, and green. Marcus Garvey certified, Kemetic certified. I have a little funky stuff on it. Orion and Sirius, because I know that's where I'm from. All right, peace out. Here comes the first two-part on languages and currencies. How these particular two elements have held societies together over the millennium. Much love, you know. Ilamusai. Okay, so this series will be about the 9 principles to unite Africa. Okay, I'm not going to do a video on this one because it's just too much work to do. Maybe after it's all said and done, I'll do one big video and then get a couple of commentators to join me on this. The first principle is going to be language. The time has come, and there's absolutely nothing standing in your way except for your mental condition. You now have the power to collect yourselves together. End this nightmare that we've been living and throw off the yoke of bondage. The first one is languages. Language is one of the most unifying principles that we have. Language is a unifying principle in every empire. Most notably would be the Qin Empire. Going back to the Qin Empire, the beginning of the Qin Empire in 221 BC, he actually uses language to unite his people together. Of course, along with currency and religion, of which we're going to discuss some of later, but language was a key factor. All right. So we read in some book that there was one language over the entire earth. And some god somewhere says these people are building a tower / pyramid, a mechanism in which to communicate with the heaven. So let's go down and confuse their languages. So much to unpack here. Now on the continent, it seems like there are thousands of languages Languages which actually within itself create boundaries and barriers, separation of peoples. Now, when you look at all this, all these languages, languages is just not like gold. It's not like the more is the better. As a matter of fact, we must be able to unite around a single language. Now, while I'm not suggesting that each local group to get rid of their local language, as a group, we're gonna have to respect the unifying force of one language, what it can bring to the table. One language across the entire continent. Now, while we're discussing this, a couple of things that we should mention is the language should be something that epitomizes the people. Something which has a lineage, something that a language which has not been diluted by your European or your Arabian colonial masters. Okay? When you look at languages, it doesn't matter if any languages, let's say, I'm from the West, so any languages in the Far East may sound a bit funny to my ears. It doesn't matter to them. What it matters is they're communicating. They're communicating with each other, and an outsider may or may not understand. All right, it has to epitomize the people and not watered down by any colonial or any Arabian colonial slave masters. Okay. Now, when a family from North, South, East, and West Africa can communicate in one single language, let me buy a loaf of bread. My children is going to school in a community. They're interacting with that community. That community has the same language with from the top of Africa to the bottom of Africa. This is powerful. Okay? Right now, we're currently dominated by vulgar languages. Vulgar languages such as French, English, Arabian, languages with no spiritual life in them. This is actually a sign of your domination. We should not perpetuate this domination, insult, and shame to the next generation. Have respect for yourself. The other nations will respect you. Now, it's imperative that in the process of choosing a name, we're going to have to choose a name for the continent itself. Now, the current name that we have, Africa, a lot of people think it's indigenous. I don't even think I need to go into the Leo Africanus, even though there are some researchers that says Africa is coming from the word Afu, meaning matter, Ra, no explanation, no introduction needed, Ka, the spirit, Afu, Ra, Ka. So matter, but when Ra shines through it, we becomes living matter because of the Ka that we have. We are divine living matter. But yeah, in the process of choosing a language, a name of the continent should be determined. And of course, the name has to be something that epitomizes us, not any other people. So that was part one of this. All right, so back at it again, part two. Now, if you notice in the background, you see in my own imagination, what I think the United African flag will be. Of course, mandate the red, black, and green mandated by ancient Kemet on the jet pillow, and also approved by the grandfather of the entire movement, Marcos Messiah Garvey. All right, but I have a couple of alternative there: red, black, and green, red, green, and gold. All right, so the next principle in these 9 principles is currency. Okay, right off the back, your ability, what you're doing right now, West Africa, they're slowly breaking away from it, but this whole thing with your currency being minted in France and being sold back to you, pure slavery. What we need on the continent is one single currency backed by all our resources, all the gold, the oil, the platinum, all these words I can't even pronounce, right under our foot, the diamond, everything, national GDP, as well as the human resource. This is all resources. It's going to actually make you the richest continent. Anyhow, let's jump into this. Currency. Currency is one of the most common denominator in every nation, every empire. We can refer to this in our recent history, such as the euros. So obviously they saw that each of their individual currency combined together as one large currency across their lands would actually be something beneficial. Okay, I'm not going to go into the circumstances and how their currency have them enslaved. That's not the point here. Another example that we could look at is, again, I'm referring to the Qin back in 221 BC. Also use currency and even measurement across the board. Most importantly, uses currency and a unifying set of measurement. So when you have one single currency backed by the gold, silver, platinum, diamond, the oil, and all the blessings that we currently have in our natural resources right under our feet, this would actually make the African continent one of the richest countries, making your currency one of the most powerful currencies on the market. You know, that coupled with the GDP of all the countries on the continent and all the resources. Now, as a matter of fact, a good idea would be to actually name it the dinar. And you know, I know at least one guy that died for that idea. I should say multiple guys, Kwame and Gaddafi. All right, these two brothers has died for this idea. Multiple more has died. I can't even call to mind right now. This would be good for when it's picked up, for it to be called the dinar. The ownership of the currency must always be in the power of the people that it is meant to serve. Printed and put into circulation by the treasurer, which is with 100% transparency to its owner, the people. Now, when we're able to finish shaking off the French from West Africa, and we all get, united under one economy, one currency, one language, There is a pitfall, and we may as well address this while we're talking about this. If this currency is held by any external force and sold back to you, you're done for. All right? So, if you allow any external forces to print, electronically generate your currency, such as any instrument of control to be used, you may as well consign your next generation to slavery, while at the same time enriching a handful of people that is not even from your nation. Once we're able to throw off the yoke off our shoulder, this should never happen. Once we're able to get up and running, should this ever happen, you may as well consign yourself and your descendants to perpetual slavery. With all that being said, a single currency will serve multiple purposes: to enrich the people, raise their standards of living, gain you a chair at the new international table that will form shortly. You will be allowed to use your own currency to purchase all imports in the new upcoming international trading market. This act within itself will cramp and paralyze your colonial masters, who are still acting like vampires and leeches, sucking the life out of your people. In this world of economic warfare against the soon-to-be former rulers of the world, you will receive an enormous amount of help from the BRICS nation once you're able to position yourself under a single currency, a single language, backed, of course, by your natural resources. You will be the pick of the litter. Where trading partners is concerned, everyone will seek your favor to purchase your resource. Be selective on who you choose to trade with. At this point, only trade with people who will respect you. And each of these trades that come, it shouldn't be an entire nation and empire coming to deal with one little guy in Botswana somewhere, maybe viewed as, a desperate seller. When they come for your resource, each of these transactions must be seen as any kind of desperate seller. Position yourself to where they are forced to pay you the market value for your resources. And even better yet, we need to get beyond being the resource center of the world and, start processing our resource into final products, putting that on the international market. Now, if you want to be respected in the world today as a nation, you must act as a nation. And of course, at that point, your colonial vampires, leeches, may or may not take it lying down, but this have to happen. This is something that must happen. End of part 2.